Actually, perfectly. How are you
Awesome.
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm also doing great. It's a very nice morning here in Berlin. A little bit gray and rainy, but you know what? The sun is in the heart.
So, what's the time there?
8:33 now.
It's 12 p.m. here.
Okay, cool.
So,
So you're in
firstly,
midday.
thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Yeah, happy to. It's my pleasure. So
So,
interesting to meet you.
it's nice to meet you too. So, I've gone through your profile. I came to know that you're a communication trainer and you train the techies, the communication skills.
Yeah, to techies. Yeah,
Awesome. So I'm a techie.
you are a techie.
Yeah. So I think I need to learn a lot from you today, and also to make my people who are watching and following me,
Yeah.
uh, uh, also teach through you.
First communication advice, you don't need to train. If you want to, that's the best case. That's the best starting position. But you don't need to. Everything you do from a place of I need to is probably not as passion driven as something you want to. So this is inner communication coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. So if you want to train communication, I'm your gal.
So before talking about you and the work that you are doing, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm happy to. So, to make it short, my name is Sina. I am from Berlin at the moment, but I'm a digital nomad. So, since April, I'm fully digital, means I move every second week almost to a new place. So, I'm really living it up after the lockdown, the COVID lockdown. And yeah, COVID really helped to go digital. That means my business could really start and settle on this ground. And what I'm doing, I discovered certain patterns in communication, how to be more positive, and how to connect with people, how to create great relationship in business. And this is something I train, and therefore I'm an entrepreneur. I founded a communication gym. So Zina's communication gym helps everyone who has an intrinsic desire to improve their communication because they believe communication is a great tool to create peace and harmony and lets us work together in a positive environment. And also, I created a boot camp for really fast success. And that's made for managers who are either people managers or project managers. And that I do since this year. Before that, I studied communication in college, but I've always worked in the field of communication combined with tech, to be honest. So I've worked in a big enterprise producing semiconductors. And then my second job I had in the jewelry industry, where I was supposed to teach, let me call it like not so tech savvy people to sell wedding rings with a computer system now. And they're like, what? How can we do that? And I was like, I show you. And then, so I did that for a while. Then I was working in tech for a research institution, which is one of the biggest research institutions in Germany. It's called Fraunhofer. And interestingly, the smartest people have not always the best communication. So that was my like, oh, okay, maybe I get some work to do. And then I went and worked at a startup, which is like a proven startup, almost 10 years old or more than 10 years old by now. And we launched a new software, and I was a customer success manager. So I was the bridge between customer happiness, um, product development, and the developers who need to understand what the customer want in order to provide the right software, right? So, and from there, I always wanted to grow, like personal growing, exploring more of my skills and my talents. And when you are, yeah, working for a certain company, of course, they want you to be working in that profession they hired you for, but this is not what I want. I always want to learn more and more and more, but so that's expensive. So I became a freelancer, and now I'm an entrepreneur, so I can keep growing and develop myself on my pace. That's it.
So you train only
What?
techies?
I don't train only techies, but it happens to happen that most techies find their way to me, like engineers and people in software development. Yeah, they took the highest values out of my training. They were the most cheerful people. They were the most people, or they were the people who recommended other people to me. So my training grew because of the techies. So I was like, okay, I guess that's my target audience. So this is how it developed. You know, it's very lean. Like my business is very lean. I always listen to what people have to say, and then I implement. It's not I want to do something. No, it's what do you want to do, and then let's do it. This is how my gym is also happening. You tell me what's your communication problem, and I find a way that you can train it. So what's a communication problem you can think of?
So you will give a medicine to the problems that they have.
I think so. Yeah, it's like self-defense in a way, that you know how to deal with those kind of problems you're facing with other people. If is it something you created, or is it something you have to deal with because other people are like this in your surrounding, in your working surrounding? And then let's find a strategy how to create peace and lower the stress, the inner stress, and maybe the stress that comes from outside.
So tell me more about the business that you're running.
Um, the business that I'm running, I would call it's a communication business, and it's fully digital. So I'm only working remotely. And what I do is, in first place, like I did with you, I ask, okay, what are the needs? What are the problems? And some department owners, like head ops, come to me and say, I would like my working atmosphere to be a little bit more positive. We only talk about the problems, but this is so draining. And I was like, okay, so let's create something to help. And so we meet up every second week and have positivity sessions where I come in and I just kill every negativity there is. So everybody tries to complain. I'm like, positive, please. And you know, it's like a muscle. The more you train it, the fitter you become. And this is what I do. I'm like the anti-negativity, which is not that I'm over positive. You know, if shit happens, and we can call it shit. You know what I mean?
So it's yeah, I got you. So the name itself of yours is positivity communication. So how this it's very important for the environment to be positive in order to make the product better.
Yeah.
I'm sure in your experience you might have seen a lot of people in your training sessions with the techies, the software engineers. How you create that? What are the things that they came that they'll bring to you, how the negative environment that they bring, and how you make that positive.
Um, so for corporations, when it's like a full team, when we work together, I work differently when I open my own programs, because that's when I have a mixed situation of people who don't know each other. So it's a little different. Which scenario do you want to talk about? Internal company situation, or a lot of individuals come and join because they want to learn how to be more positive?
The first one.
The first one. Okay. So at a company, I like to start, and this is always what we discuss up front, if my approach is what the company wants. But from my side, the most effective way is to start with our values. And therefore, I've created a value challenge. It's called the 50 Value Challenge by Sina Landorff. And I sent that up front. Everybody has to go through a list of 50 different values and rate them, like on a scale from 1 to 10. how important in your career is that value. And it can be family, it can be love, it can be success, it can be perfectionism. There are so many values, but also like freedom and fun and whatever is most important to you. You have to break it down by your top 10. So the top 10 of the highest values you put down by the end of the list. And from those top 10, you come up with your top 3 values. So for myself, it's freedom, respect, and fun. And then everybody comes into the meeting knowing their top 3 values. And since I don't know most of the people personally in that situation, I ask, okay, what's your name? What's your job? And what are your top values? And then they introduce themselves and then they say what they do and how they combine the values. And it's so interesting because the team gets to know each other from a different perspective, from a different level. And suddenly it makes more sense how they are and why they are like this. And the more we are able to understand, first of all, ourselves, then we are also more able to understand our team. And when we understand, there is no grief and there is no irritation. The moment we understand, we're like in peace, because understanding, you know, that smart people always know the feeling of understanding. It's like a high, right? Yeah.
So for these software companies, for engineers, it is very important for them to create a product which matches with the requirement of the users, and it should be user friendly, and
Yeah.
it should be more effective tool, and it should reach more audience. So
Yes.
how you train them? What are the things that they don't put in their mind while developing a software product?
Yeah. There's also not a general overall situation. It depends on every character. So for example, when we listen to customers, we have to make sure that the customer really knows what they want. That's the first problem in communication. When the customer is not absolutely 100% sure how the product is supposed to be like, function like, look like, what the value is, then it's hard to produce something, because then you start and then they're like, oh, maybe we need to do some changes. And that's when the communication loop. And it's frustrating for both parties, because you want to listen, you want to get it, and then you just do it. And here's the product. Here we go. Here's the software. Here's the code. Here's what you ordered. And sometimes it's the consulting before you have to be clear about, to ask the right question, to lead someone towards what they really want. Therefore, you need to know how you work. You know, what do you need to know? You kind of have to be aware of the mistakes you made before, and like the other developers, which mistakes did they make before, and it needs an open culture talking about the mistakes, because this is when you learn which questions to ask to avoid those communication problems, that the client, when they also don't know the answer yet, that you send them home with their homeworks to figure it out before you start coding, like from a process. So this is one thing, to ask the right questions.
So the clients will be from different countries, from
Oh,
different backgrounds, who are not into technology. So how do they need to connect with them in order to make the make in order to make the I mean, in order to establish the connection between the company and the customer better?
great question. I love it. So that's, and this is me throwing the ball back to you, because this again is your skill to be able to explain and use a communication style that the person you're talking to is able to understand. It's sometimes train to explain it to your parents or your grandparents. When they understand what you do and what you need them to do, then you have, I think, the best communication training. It needs to be optimized to the person you talk to. And this is also why I created my gym, because You can explain what you do, and you have other techies from different situations from different backgrounds, and you can learn to explain things to each other, and you double check, is it clear, is it understood, where's the lack of maybe the way I think is not synced with the way you think. And yeah, it has to be synced. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I understood you. So tell me about the communication role in tech industry.
Oh, communication is everything. And Václav, he is one of the early stage big communication scientists. He said you cannot not communicate. And since communication is everything, it's also in tech, it's also for developers. And it starts with the way you think. The way you think is communication. It is either positive or negative. Sometimes it's also neutral, but we have to be aware of the way we think. We have to be aware of the way we communicate. We have to be aware of our surrounding, of our situation, like situational awareness. And if we want to be successful in life, we have to know all this. We have to know ourselves. We have to understand the others. We have to understand our environment to perform at the max level. And it doesn't only apply to developers. It applies to basically every single person who has dreams and goals.
So I'm sure as a trainer, you might have seen people having different levels of communication.
Yeah.
The engineers. So how do you train them? How do you know what actually they know? How much actually they know? How what they are doing and what they should do in order to make the communication between the non-techies and techies the best, the quality communication.
Okay. This is absolutely crazy, okay? It will blow your mind. You'll be like, oh, I'm just kidding. You learn communication by communicating. So what I do, I'm having a very practical approach. It's learning by doing. I put you in a situation where you have to communicate with someone, and then you reflect on it. And then you'll be like, okay, how did I feel? What went wrong? What did I do great? And you talk to the other person. Okay, how did you feel in the communication with me? And then you have other people who are your coaches who can say, okay, just listening, I observed this and this and this. And just from listening, I felt like you might have. So it's an active process of you put yourself in a situation, it is out of your comfort zone. Because it is like you're on a stage. You have people watching you. You have to talk to a new person. Sometimes I tell you what the subject is you should talk about. Sometimes I give you a frame how to structure your communication. So it's you think to follow that structure, and you think to do a good job, and then you try to be authentic at the same time. Oh my God, that's tough. But this is how you go from level to level in your own pace. There's no judgment involved. You come in, you communicate, and you get caring and loving feedback from people who are sitting. In German, we say we sit in the same boat. It's like we walk in the same shoes, sort of. It's a saying. Does it make sense? Is it?
Yeah.
So the learning by doing is my approach. The very practical, hands-on. This is why it's so effective.
You're right. So, so there will be a lot of tech people. There are a lot of tech people who will be watching and listening to our conversation. So,
Okay.
what do you say? What do you say to those people? They are very good at programming. They are very good with the computer. They are very good in programming languages. They know how to put Java, C++, C, and other programming, Python. They know all the programming language. They know the communication medium. Uh, uh, I mean, with which they can communicate with the machines, but they are not very good in communicating with the human beings.
I
You
know.
took that job, you are expert in that, but they are not. How? What do you tell to them? How important the communication is to them. Is it only important for them to communicate only with the machines if they are in that particular job? Is that is going to helpful for them in that industry for a long time? Can they survive with that communication languages that they know only? They are just communicating with the machines which don't have life.
Yeah. So first of all, I like to say three words: rich, kind, humble. If you don't know how to behave around people, rich, kind, humble. Because let's be honest, in general, software developers have a fairly good income. This is what the stereotype is, and this is how people treat them. People are aware of that, and let's not fake it, be stand up for it. So own that, but in a kind way, because if you learn and try to be kind, it will make a switch in your life. If you believe me or not, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just sharing my personal experiences about myself and what I learned from all the techies I know in my network. And yeah, the humble is don't take yourself too serious. I mean, even you're an expert of all the other experts, even if you, I don't know, have developed the latest crazy big shit, you're still a human being, and that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. So let's treat each other with respect. So I'm saying from a mental situation, yeah, rich, kind, humble is a very nice way to put it. And I don't plan on teaching someone who doesn't want to be taught. So if like all the people who come in my gym and who work with me and who talk to me, they know that they would like to be a better communicator. They have that intrinsic desire. And there are a lot of developers who don't, because they don't see the need or they don't care. And people who don't care, you can't train. You can only teach and train when someone cares. And those are my kind of clients, people who care. And they want to work with other people, and they know that communication creates happiness. And I help with that. So I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying if you want to do that, be rich, kind, humble.
So what do you say to the people who are not able to come out from their fears? They are afraid of coming, they are afraid of expressing their thoughts. They feel that, whatever I'm thinking, what my thoughts are, what the information that I have in my mind or the collection of thoughts that I have in my head may be wrong, may not be, the other person, the listener may not agree with this, maybe will be opposite for what I'm saying. So what do you say? How you make them come out from their that scary mindset?
Yes, I totally understand. So I don't know, do you see my shirt?
Yeah.
So um everyone with like that kind of situation of being in like feeling anxiety, they need a cheerleader. They need someone in their life who listens and is there for them to help them find their confidence, to give them the boost, to be that person who says, yes, you can, and oh my gosh, and you're so awesome, and look at what you created, and you could be so proud of yourself, and well done you. Someone who supports you and gives you that confidence, and talks to you about those things you worry about, and tells you, okay, this is a great point, but look at it from this perspective. If you do it this way, just try it. I'm sure you can do this. If you have someone like that, that should work. And if it's still not working, they can come to me. I definitely, this is my positivity position. I'm your cheerleader. If you want to get out of that current situation, I'm happy to help. I'm your best friend, and I'm sure it takes a month and you be skyrocketing. with your communication.
So you are being the reason for their communication skills, and you are also being the reason for their connectivity with other people.
I mean, what means the reason? I mean, there's a lot that comes together. I mean, they have read books. They also go out and talk to people more. They learn to stand up for their rights and what they really want to do, and they learn to say no to certain situations and jobs and offers and clients who are too greedy. You know, they learn to set boundaries in a peaceful and respectful way, and they have nicer conversation. They learn to open up to people in order to connect, because if you're closed, you cannot connect. You can only connect when you're open, which means you have to give a little bit. You have to a little bit. Yeah, you show who you are, and that's scary, but you do it step by step. And it's not just me. I might be the helping hand, but in the end, this is what you do. This is your growth. You walk the steps, and you are the one who is proud of yourself in the end. You know.
So, so what are the best compliments that you got from your clients, from your techies who
Yeah.
you trained?
Well, I think the best compliment I'm always receiving is when other people invite other people in, like when they invite friends, not just other people, like their best friends and their closest friends to my program. So there's this one guy. He works at Google in the research department, and he invited his best friend to my program. And he is a software developer for like a big supply chain company in Germany called Rewe. So and he had also invited all his colleagues from Google to join, and that was like so nice. You know, that I think I cannot get a better compliment, because honestly, actions show more than words.
So what will work with the communication in tech industry for techies? If they are very good in communication skills, what they are going to create, what energy that they are going to create? You're also mentioning positivity. So tell me about the positivity in communication, how that is going to create effect, how that is going to create wealth, how that is going to get money, how that is going to make relationships better with clients, with product developers, product creators, the workers, the service department, and the service industry and the IT industry.
So, so there is a survey by Google called the Aristoteles survey or study or project. I think project was the name, and it was a research about highly effective teams. And the number one reason for highly effective teams is psychological safety. And this kind of psychological safety is the reason for magic to happen, for people to live out their fully potential, like their full potential, to be who we are born for, to use the maximum of our capacities. And this is exciting, right? I mean, when we can run on full speed on who we are, to express our creativity and speed and what you know, whatever skills that we have to be par excellence. That's where joy comes in, and joy and happiness are so connected. And you ask me what it does for the world, for society. People who are happy, people who are in love. It's either, I mean, you can be in love for just about everything. You can love your pets, your parents, your spouse or partner. You can love your job. Hell yeah, I love my job. I'm like, when I'm working, I mean, sometimes I don't know what to do. Then I'm like a little but usually when I'm in my trainings, for example, I'm like, I know this is my thing, and this feeling, I cannot be an asshole. When you're in love, you're nice. When you're happy, you're nice. And just imagine a world full of nice people, where nobody yells at each other, where nobody says something mean that hurts your feelings. when we're all respectful with each other, like this is the potential positivity has if we embrace it, which doesn't mean that we should swallow our shit. It means that we should address our shit in a respectful way and maybe help each other, support each other to deal with it, because everybody has their dark side. We all do. And it takes a community to go through that.
So God created human being uh, who is not thinking, one human being is not thinking like other human beings. So
Yeah.
always there is a difference in thinking between two human beings. So this is what the nature created. So how, you took a job, you are doing something that makes two different thinking people to connect with each other, having different ideology, different philosophy, different experience, different mindsets, who came from completely different backgrounds, who have completely different educational backgrounds. So all, you're trying to establish connection with between two different thinking people, and that is very tough. Not everybody, not every two people can agree and disagree all the time. So how you are able to create this positivity, because you are using this word positivity. So how this positivity you are going to use in between two people in order to make the connection better and last for a long time, which is very important in the industry.
Could you see that? Was there a heart comment? I love your question. So first of all, I would like to share with you what positivity is for me, okay? So for me, it's not rainbows and unicorns. For me, it's to be able to also see the positive, means to see the possible, to see the ideal, to see, okay, what's the good about the situation? And how to create that, that's a solution mindset. And this is very well connected, because when you're positive, you can see solutions from a emotional perspective. When you're negative, you're limited. You don't see, because you're just so blurred up. It's like a fog in your brain. You don't go out of this problem if you're within the problem. And so, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought.
So I was asking multiple questions. So how you are able to establish connection between two different thinking people?
Oh, international wise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. 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 So if I have that solution mindset, if I have that mindset of I see the good, I also learn to see the positive in people. I see people not as only positive, not as only negative. I see people for their holistic themselves, like yin yang. So they have positive sides and negative sides. And when I interact with people, I'm just neutral. I just take the person as they are. And that comes with judgment. So when we dislike something, we judge. It's a fact. It's not good. It's not bad. We have a personal opinion. It's my humble opinion, but I judge. And the more I judge, the probably I judge myself. And this is where we can start working. The moment I judge other people and I downgrade or upgrade people, I'm not neutral anymore. And this is some work I should do on myself, because it is what it is. And positivity comes into play when I take what it is, like the current situation, just like that, like raw, and try to make this situation, to get the best out of it, to make it as positive as possible. That's my approach to positivity. It doesn't mean that I ignore what's not working. Does that make sense? So in order to be international, it's either do you judge other people for who they are and kind of say other cultures are like, or like, that's, this is your part. This is your own communication. This is the way you think. I mean, I don't mean you personally. I just mean the overall situation. And So I say, let's stop judging. And this is also what I train in my gym. When people start to judge, which is a normal thing. I know I also don't judge. If people judge, they judge. I judge sometimes, but I try to be as neutral as possible, and to be acceptant and tolerant as possible. But it's a learning.
So tell me about the preparation. So before talking about something, how a person need to prepare about the topic that he is going to talk. If he know or if she don't know the topic that she or he is going to talk, how they should handle that, how they have to give answers, how they have to react. And tell me about the vocabulary in communication skills, which creates effect. The words that we are using, which makes other person to feel comfortable and discomfortable. So how
Mhm.
does you teach them as a trainer?
Yeah, that's right. So again, more questions. Ugh. So let's start. When we are having, oh, would you like to give me an example? That's always the best. If you have like a real life situation, let's make it more practical.
For example, for this interview, I didn't prepare what to talk with you, so I don't know. So how I'm going to make this conversation better?
Yeah, this is a fantastic question. Um, to prepare mentally, 3 steps. Number one, come in with an openness and a curiosity, like a genuine curiosity. Because if you're a smart person, you have a curious mind. Use that mind, and it's called spontaneity. Or is that spontaneity? Is that the English term? Yeah. Spontanität in German. So, first of all, be open and be curious. Second, it's the listening part of the information you get. Really actively listen. And also, in terms of sharing information, it's always good to connect with people by sharing a little bit from your side. So you've been asking me a lot, and I create that moment where I'm like, I would like to know more about you to feel comfortable to, speak more about myself. So it's this is what I always say too. And 3, leave with appreciation. And here comes the language with a compliment. But everything has to be genuine. Everything has to be authentic. And if it's not authentic, it's not real. And people like real, right? And the more you are prepared, the more you are structured, the more you are in your brain logically and not letting you drive by your emotions, which is dangerous. But if you want to connect with people, you connect with emotions. And what you do
So
is you smile a lot. That always helps, it helps me to continue talking.
because if I smile, I can see your smile because I want to see your smile. That is looking very, very positive for me. So that's why I want to smile.
Thank you. And yes, smiling is contagious. And smiling is also a little bit of therapy. So if we talk about a positive working environment, it's funny, but after I close my sessions, I tell everyone, okay, what's your next step? Like, what's the one thing you continue practicing until we see each other next week? And sometimes they say, I want to say more often thank you, or I want to smile more, or I want to pay more attention to someone's feelings if I can spot them, if I can identify them. And then, they text me on LinkedIn and say, hey, it's really working. And oh my gosh, it's effective. I'm like, I know.
So Sina, tell me about different expressing ways. Different people expresses the same topic, the information, the data in different ways. So what is the common thing that works for everybody, which makes everybody to connect with everybody in the tech
Um,
industry?
so I don't believe in this one thing that works for everybody, because this is human nature. This is the nature of life. We are all unique. So if we talk about communication, we need to learn situational awareness, to be in the moment, to be in the present now, or to be in the now, to be in the present moment. That's when we know how to behave. It's not planning. It's be real what's happening right now, and to trust ourselves to behave the way we are in the present now. And it takes a little bit of guts to test that. And this is why I have the gym, because there you can try for the first time, if that's the first time, to be authentic and to say, I actually don't want that. I mean, I can tell you, sit straight, take a deep breath, calm yourself, answer with positive intentions. When you just want to vent on someone, when you feel like you have negative emotions like anger, anxiety, something, that stresses you, please, take a deep breath before you let it out on other people and hurt them. Because we all are hurt when someone yells at us. We all are hurt when someone says something mean, something disrespectful, or criticizes us. It can hurt when it comes with bad intentions. And that we don't do that, I always say take a deep breath. In terms of positive information, just say it. If you think of something you like, we are so often holding back what we like. Why? This is so beautiful when someone tells me, I like your smile. Oh, nice shirt. Or that's so kind of you. That's well thought through. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good question. When we say those things out loud, what we really like, people do it more often. It's like a spiral. When people know what we like, they can follow up on it. But mostly and often we talk about what we don't like. So people are not able to give us what we want because we don't say it out loud. This is kind of the crux. But yeah, so in my workshops, sometimes I ask openly, what was the nicest thing someone in your team did lately? And then they talk about it. And then I ask, so what's your favorite colors when they got your flowers? What's your favorite flower? What's your favorite kind of chocolate? Whatever, those things that make us human, and we need to pay attention and get that for other people.
So I have an important question. So how to be positive in the negative environment?
Yes. It's like, how can you have a great day out in the rain when it's raining? You don't have to have a bad day just because it rains outside. I mean, of course, sunshine is important for our system. We need vitamin D. It's necessary. But even if it's raining, you don't have to have a bad day. Yeah. So you can learn to be okay with other people having a bad day, and negative environment means people are not happy. And if you are happy and you see that someone else isn't happy, like toxic, negative, or whatever, behavior often comes from lack of love, just being unhappy. We can show some kindness and we can ask, is there something I can do for you? Just show a little bit of compassion. And sometimes you turn around the whole atmosphere by not being mad that someone else is toxic or negative. Just be understanding that, oh, they might have a bad phase in their life. Maybe it's a long phase in their life, and you never know where people come from, what childhood they had, which experiences they just been through. And when people are mean and disrespectful, there's a history. Like, have you watched The Joker, the movie, the blockbuster? It's like that. He's not a bad person by himself, he's created like this. And he can be healed with love and compassion.
So, in your training sessions, while you're teaching people, while you're communicating with software engineers or software developers, you might have seen a lot of things happening, a lot of communication happening between, uh, top level and the lower level, or between the client or like completely different people who are trying to establish communication. And tell me how, what to talk and what not to talk, how to be and when to listen, when not to listen, and when to start talking and talk when not to talk. So you, with your experience, you might have seen and communicated with a lot of people in your a long experience.
Mm, this is again, there is no overall situation, because situational awareness, emotional intelligence training is what gets you there, that you know the answer yourself in the right moment. It is something in your intuition. You will know that, okay, now you need to go up front and be honest and say, okay, listen. Or you should step back and wait, let someone vent, or cool down, let everybody sleep over and come in with a fresh situation the next morning. Or, block the situation. My grandpa, he is a he was also a business owner, and he he had the funniest move. When someone asked him a question he absolutely didn't want to talk about, he just ignored it, and he ignored it to such a level, it's like you feel yourself that you never asked that question. So he just keeps on talking about something completely different, acting like we have been talking about this topic for the last 15 minutes with such confidence. It's hilarious. And I call it the Opa Helmut. It's really, really funny because he did it to such a great execution level. And I learned how to do that. In order, if you don't want to talk about something, just change the subject, just as everything's cool.
So, as a software engineer, I have a few questions. So, but it is very important. Yeah.
Can I say one thing that just came to my mind? If you don't want a problem to be created, you just don't create it. Just don't. When people try to poke you, it's like, are you ticklish? Are you ticklish? You are? Okay. So it's like I'm trying to tickle you and you try not to laugh, It's like, it's the same. When people try to tickle you, you just concentrate of, I'm not laughing. It's the same with communication. When people try to put you in a direction where you don't want to go, you just be strong. You suck it up to stay in line with your own values. Thank you.
You said something which is very important, which works for everybody, not only tech people.
Yeah. What is it?
The ticklish one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Communication is everything. It's not just tech people, but
Yeah.
I just came across that tech people have the biggest need. So
Yeah,
I'm here to
you're
help.
right. You're right. So, as a software engineer, I have few questions. So, I'm very good in understanding the mechanism of the software, how it works, what are the things that are needed for the software to work better for the user, for the end user. It should work in a way, it should respond in a proper way, it should give the result that he wants. If he's using my website, if he's using my mobile app, so it should respond very, very, it should be like a human being. It should not
Yeah.
be like a software. So
Yeah.
it should respond like a human being. So I'm putting, I have website. I use the text box where people can directly interact with me using that.
You need a lot of
The
psychology for that.
Yeah. So I have used that plugin, one of the software which is in my website. So they are communicating with me through that medium. So user experience is very important for me when, if I'm a software developer, or if I'm a software engineer, or if I'm in a company, or if I'm a CEO of a company. So I need to understand the mechanism of it, and what users are thinking about it, what users from different parts of the world, from completely different backgrounds, not only tech people. Tech people gives different responses to the software that I'm using.
Yeah.
They say, they say in terms of technical things, but
Yeah.
non-technical people gives a different viewpoints about
Yeah.
the software that I created or the software that I'm uh, uh, doing some changes. So what you tell to software engineers?
Um, it's one of the hardest things for sure. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do alone to figure that out. And I have an example for you. So I just grabbed that box. So you see this is a box, and there's something inside of here. And the stuff that inside of here is not able to read what's up here. It cannot read that it says kitchen herbs. It can This is not able to see it because it's in the box. And when you creating something, when you're creating software, when you're creating UX, you're in the box. You cannot read on the other side. It's just physically not possible. Let's put it that way. Except, and this is where the abstract level comes up. And to be honest, that's an awareness level that's hard training to get there. It's almost like spiritual awakening, that you are able to put yourself out of your situation and see something from a higher abstract on a bigger, higher scale. That's something you got to train, but that's a lot of work and practice for sure. To understand from a higher level. If people are still young and starting to learn this kind of skill, this level of emotional intelligence, also, it's part of it, because you have to cope down, you have to get out of your ego, you have to, leave all that behind to see from a different perspective. It's like flying. You have to cut all ties. And what you do in the beginning, you just ask everyone. You get the customer feedback. You do UX testing, A/B testing. You just let a lot of customers go on your page and get the feedback and change it. It's a constant situation, and don't expect things to be perfect at the beginning. It's a process. Don't be a perfectionist. But when you're honest and open to communicate that, then every customer is fine that you go on a journey. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Did I answer your
Yeah,
question in a
yeah,
satisfying way?
yeah.
So no worries. It's either you really train your awareness level, or you just do a bunch of testing to understand how your users, your target audience, your customers, how they tick. And you create personas. You create personas to know what their needs are, what their problems are, because in general, every customer will go through the same thought of train, like toot toot. They have personal needs. They want to know what's it about, how much, time, etc. Like whatever the situation is.
So do you have any particular experience in Google where you worked that you cannot forget?
Um, yeah, many things, but positive as also negative things.
As a
Um,
communication trainer, as a positive
yeah,
communication trainer, any particular incident or a situation that you cannot forget that you want to share with my audience?
yeah. I like, especially so for the tech people, they are so damn smart. Like like the people who work there, they're so smart. It's so amazing. I love it. And for the business part of Google, like sales and stuff, their communication is really good. Like they are excellent communicators. They're really good at it. I almost don't have words for it, but it's 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 a great communication. You can learn a lot from them. So my humble experience, like I know most of the, like I have been to the Google office in Germany, in Berlin, in Dublin, and in Silicon Valley, in yeah, San Francisco.
So is it possible for a human being, for a communicator to communicate with any person who is living in any part of this planet?
Yeah, of course it is possible. What I mean, you can. My friends always say, Sina, you could communicate with a dead person. So communication doesn't always need to have words. When you look at someone, it's communication. Because if you speak or if you don't speak, it sends a message.
Do you observe the communication between other species other than human beings?
I love that question. I love that question. Absolutely. There are there's therapy with horses. There are dogs that protect human beings. Animals have a way different way to communicate. And I had a I had a British short hair cat at my family's house, and I learned to communicate with him just by thinking. Like it was so fantastic. I connected with him on a non-communication level, not non-verbal level, just by knowing that. Let my heart talk to him. You know what I mean? Like go into deep emotions, deep feelings, and I felt the love for him in such an intense level that he looked at me and came and sat on my lap without me saying, "Come here," or making any. Just by really wanting him to sit on my lap, showing him all my love, and he wanted it too.
As a human beings, can be able to establish connection with aliens?
Oh, I don't know about that. Why not? I mean, everything is possible. Never say no or never to something that's not proven wrong. I know if it's proven wrong, so there's a possibility, in my humble opinion. I mean, could be. Why not?
Is
I
there
haven't met
anything
it.
you have met alien?
I have not met Alien yet. As far
If
as my awareness level, I never seen anybody outside the matrix.
so, is there anything that you didn't understood in communication?
That I didn't understand in communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There are many things. Like for example, we always talk about the. In German we say five senses. In English, we say seven sense, right? And then in Asia, in Asian countries, you have the chakras and everything. So this is a kind of communication where I want to learn way more about. And next week I'm a moderator at the Energy Innovation Days, powered by a large enterprise, like a large energy enterprise in Germany called Eon Innovation. And I would like to ask this question, but we already talked about the agenda, and there's no time for it. Energy is also, I mean, energy is everything, and communication is based on energy. So energy is the fuel that lets us communicate. And I don't really understand it yet, but it is so interesting to think about when like every synapses in our brains shoots, it's like an energy, and it's a connection, and it's a communication. That's power. So can we not use our human power to just create electricity at some point? Like this is, mine my own Bitcoin with my hands. I don't know. This is
So
stuff
tell
I
me,
don't understand.
okay. So tell me about the value of a word, the energy of a word, the impact that is going to create when you use it,
Okay.
when you are using your words, the collection of words that you have,
Yeah.
how you are able to create impact with the energy that you have, with the valuable words that you have in your collection, how you are able to connect with other person.
Yeah.
When it comes to
Yeah.
love,
I love it.
other
I love
than
that
tech.
question. Can that be the last question? Because I'm having breakfast at the Zoho house this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
Woo-hoo! I'm pretty excited. I will show up in my Supergirl shirt. um, the connection we're creating. So I discovered that. That's a personal covering. I was not sure what is happening, what's going on with me, what is draining my energy. So I started to analyze what is it that pulls me down, that stops me from going into my full potential. And I realized it's the communication with people that either lift me up or suck me down. And it was so interesting because we talk about introverts and extroverts, and I myself, like the person who I grew up as, is an introvert. I was really shy. I was, yeah, like I was I was a kindergarten loser, to be honest. And then I had to learn the communication to get along because it was not nice to be a loser. And the fact is that it's not you're an introvert because you gain energy by being alone or something, or you lose energy by being in a group, and you're not just an extrovert by gaining energy through being in a group. It's more about which people you surround yourself with and what's their communication like. If their communication is positive, if they are having good intentions and good vibes around you, it gives you energy and it creates a good atmosphere. And a good atmosphere is where magic happens, where people strive for more, where creativity lays, where solutions come, where people are, in their power. And if we're not, if the communication is quite negative, and this is what I noticed, I had a very negative surrounding from a family perspective, but also from where I was born and raised. Like, people, when they talk to me, they made me feel bad about myself in certain ways, and I didn't even notice. They said mean things, and claimed it's humor and it's funny to laugh about each other and pull each other down and call each other names. And I just noticed this is energy that lowers my potential of high performance. But when I create my own bubble of positive people, I can go all night. The maximum moderation I did was the Purpose Conference. That was last year in November, and I went online at 9, I think, and we got off at 18 at 6 p.m., which means all day, no break. I had to text backstage, like, get me off the screen for a second. I have to pee. And then my partner at that time, he was so kind. He shifted a nice note through the door slip and told me there is salad in front of the door if I want to eat something. So I was so busy, but I did it because I could pull together my energy, and I have a lot. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I understood you. So
Okay.
thank you for giving me your valuable time and saying a lot of important points which works in communication and about the work that you are doing and yeah,
Can I ask for a favor, please?
yeah,
Can I interview you too?
yeah, sure, you can. I'll be
Like,
ready.
I would have. Can we turn it around so we meet maybe in a week or something? Like, we find a date, because I have so many questions about your work and your life and the communication style of what you've explored internationally. It's so interesting. I love those kind of topics. So I would like and love to hear, who are you?
Now you have to eat
No,
food
I
now.
have to go now. This is what I'm saying. Like, we can maybe find a new date. Maybe I can book something in your calendar.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send you my calendar. You can set a time. You can fix a time. We'll talk.
So next time we're gonna talk, I won't be in Berlin anymore. I will be in Rome. Woohoo!
Wow. So
Yeah,
yeah, changing the places.
yeah. I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So I have a last question. What is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on
Yeah,
my YouTube channel
yeah.
and my
Okay.
apps, my software? So, what do you say? What is your observation as a communication trainer? You worked in Google. You have a lot of experience. You have a lot of observations. You know what communication is. So, what do you say about me?
That's thank you that you said that I don't have to judge your technical qualities because I couldn't. um, your communication style is, in a good way, my humble opinion, I would say, very likable. And friends of mine told me not to use that word, but I like to use it because I mean it from a very positive perspective. Very cute. It's so enjoyable. Like, I like cute people. I like people who make me feel like, oh, I like you. You know, this, you smile, you open, you ask really great questions. I feel like you have the full potential of listening and understanding and structuring the situation. I don't know if you have been very prepared, but it felt natural. You know, it felt like you took the information I said, mixed it with what you had prepared eventually, but then also be connecting with the answers or be connected with the answers I already gave. It was a great line, so it felt nice to me. So you made me feel good, which is the perfect situation. And I noticed in all of your interviews that everybody is comfortable speaking with you, which is the right atmosphere in bonding with people and creating good vibes. So you're already doing it.
So I'll tell you something that is working for me. Uh, in order to establish this connection, I will end with telling with this.
Nice.
So I have a subject in my graduation. I did graduation in computer science and engineering. There is a subject called computer networks where the computer network where the computers interact with each other, where the information transfer happens, accept, reject, everything. The communication happens between computers, the protocols, the rules. After understanding that technical thing that is happening between the physical machines which don't have life, which is not
Yeah.
which don't have life, which don't have emotions, they are communicating with each other and they are perfect. And to understand the artificial intelligence, to understand, in order to create an
Yeah.
artificial intelligence machine, it is very important for me to understand the actual intelligence of human being, how the communication happening between human beings, how people from different parts of the world are able to connect and communicate and can create softwares which can connect with everybody, the Microsoft operating systems, all these, the business is happening in the world. I want to understand what is working, what will work. So that is why the reason, that curiosity, that thought of mine generated while understanding the computer networks and the information transfer between them, how that is
Yeah.
happening. So that curiosity, that accuracy, I want to understand, and I want to create that using my medium, which is free medium, YouTube channel, podcast. I want to use all the different people, extraordinary, talented people like you, to
Thank you.
come into my show and exchange words with them. Uh,
So have you figured it out? Like, how can you tell how? I mean, it's very logical. Of course, there are no emotions. It's just rational. It's based on information you give them, and based on the more information, the more calculation. But it's rational. It's rational. It's straight thinking, emotionless.
yeah. So, but machines are different from human beings. So there is a lot of difference between communicating with a machine and communicating with a human being. So we can't be that logical with the human being. So we have to be respectful. We should be we should be caring about
But
others.
isn't that great? You know what that means for the future? We can let the machine do the thinking, and the human interacting can be so fun because emotions are fun, can be fun. But living emotions, I think this is what we're here for, to go through all this.
Yeah.
And
I
when we're,
think you're going to, yeah, I think as a communicator, you're very deep in understanding this, the psychology and the
yeah,
communication between human beings. I think you're going to work in very good position where like you said, the machines which are created using by putting the qualities of the human beings in that machine. I think you are the perfect person to
Oh,
give the inputs, and I'm also one of those persons who will be working like you in order to make the machines react like human beings, the emotions. So I think that works. Maybe in 10 years or 20 years, the human creation, the wonderful creation, AI,
yes.
which will be like a human being, we are going to give our contribution to this planet by creating that machine which acts like a human being.
This is so lovely. And yeah, let's continue exchanging on this, because my goal is to create peace for the world. And when we work with AI and tech, when we have machines thinking for us, I personally believe it would help that someone who has the ability to think positive, to create positive end scenarios and teach that to the machine, rather than someone who, has a negative view on this planet. And it's like, do you like the Marvel universe? Did you watch the Ultron? So it's like Ultron versus Jarvis. And Jarvis says in the creation process, oh, I think you're missing information, or there's, you're not fully uploaded something. He says there's something missing, and he's like, no, I have enough. And then he takes over, and then both systems want a better world. It's just from a negative perspective, like from a, not negative, but more like from a perspective that comes with, we have to destroy something first, or something we have to heal. Anyways, I could go on and on and on. It's like I'm a nerd. So, but I set a calendar date for us again, and then I would love to know exactly more about this, creating AI. Sorry, that's so exciting. And then we see each other soon.
Yeah, thank you, Sina, for giving me your valuable time. Again, I took more 11 minutes. You gave me 1 hour, but I took more 11 minutes of your 12 minutes. So
Definitely.
thank you for your valuable time, and for everything that happened in this conversation. So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your
Yeah,
permission?
yeah, sure, sure, sure. I also want to say thank you for asking so many cool questions. It was really fun answering them. And also thank you for your kind attitude, for smiling with me, for being cute.
So can I also put this audio and video clip on my podcast website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Go.
Yeah. Thank you, Sina. I want your contribution to create more energy in this world. Like you said, the positive energy. I'm sure your contribution is going to create a lot of positivity in this world.
It's funny when you say positivity and do this, Body language, also a very important topic. Okay, I'm out of here. I have a breakfast to go to. I'm starving before I get hangry, because no, you should.
Sure. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.